this video, we're going to take a look at a compound interest question, and the first part of this question asks us to calculate the total interest earned over 2 years. So when we think about compound interest, we need to think about the formula. So we've got f equals p multiplied by 1 plus I to the power of t. So what do each of these symbols mean? Well, f is the final value, p is equal to the principal, or what we put in, I is the interest, and what you might remember is we have to be careful here. The interest will be given to us as a percentage and we must change it to a decimal. And the last one then, the last letter to deal with is the letter T. And T is going to be the time, usually in years we'll be dealing with. So do I have this information in the question? Let's check it out. So the final value is what we're actually looking for here, because they want us to find or to calculate the total interest she earned over 2 years. So what she earned. So that's the final value is what we're looking for. Let's see what else. So P stands for principal, which is what we put in or what we invested. So there's that number. I stands for what interest she earned, which was 5%. Now remember, interest must be written as a decimal. So we're not going to be using 5%. We're going to be using the decimal form, which is 0.05. And finally then we have time. How long is she investing it for? 2 years. So now that we have each piece of information, we're going to be able to substitute it all back in to where we had our formula. So P is going to go there, our interest is going to go in here, and F is what we're looking for. So let's substitute those back in. So we're going to get F is equal to P, which is what she's putting in, which is going to be 6,000. Then it's going to be multiplied by 1. So 6,000, not 600. So we'll get that right. So 6,000. And then we're going to have multiplied by 1 plus I, and I has to be written as a decimal. All to the power of t, which is going to be 2. And all you need to do then is make sure you've typed that into your calculator correctly. And when you do put it into your calculator, we should get our final answer as 6,615 euros. Now they wanted us to calculate the total interest earned. Well, to figure that out, if she's left with 6,615 in the end, what did she have at the beginning? 6,000. So we take out the 6,000 from this. So 6,615, take away what we already put in, or what Sarah originally put in, which is 6,000. And we're left with then 615 euro is how much interest she earned. So for the second part of this question, what we're being asked to do is look at the money we have just earned, or what we've invested, which was 6,615 euros. We've then invested that again, and we've put it with some amount of money, so another amount of money. And when we leave that in the account for the year, for another year, the third year, the money that comes out is going to be 7,350. So what we need to do, again, because we're talking about compound interest, is think about our formula. What do we have? What do we know? What are we looking for? So here we go. There's our formula. So let's break it down again. F is the final value. Now in this instance, we do know the final value. We know that at the end of the third year, we get 7,350 euro out. So I do have that. What I put in, well, I know what part of what I put in was, but I don't know the full amount. So I'm going to leave it as P for the moment. Do I know what the value of I was? Well, they've told us that I is the interest rate and it's the same for the third year. It's unchanged, right? So it's unchanged from the previous 2 years. So it's still 5%. And then T is the amount of time that we're leaving it in there for. So we're going from year 2 to year 3. So how long has that been in there then? Well, it's only been in there 1 year. So that tells us the time. So all we have to do now is fill in the information into our formula. So we know that the final value is going to be 7,350. That's equal to what we put in, which we don't know. We know what part of what we put in was, but we don't know the other amount. I'm just going to call it P for the moment. And then we're saying that we put that in. It's got an interest rate of I. Remember, we must write the 5% in decimal. And then we raise it to the power of T. Now T was year 2 to year 3. It's only 1 year. So I'm going to put 1. Now, what I need to do is think back to my algebra skills. We've taken everything we need from the word problem. Now we need to think about algebra skills. So what we're going to do is tidy up what we can. So I know I'm not going to change anything on the left hand side here, so I'm going to write that and keep it the same. So 7350 is equal to P. That's not changed. But we are going to have that tidied up and raised to the power of 1, which is just 1.05. So when you put that into your calculator, that's what we get. Raise it to the power of 1. There. Now we need to ask ourselves, if I want to figure out what P is on its own, how do I get rid of the multiply by 1.05? So how do we undo multiply in maths? Well, we do the opposite, and the opposite is to divide. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide both sides here by the exact same thing, because whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to divide both sides by that. These guys are going to undo each other. So you're going to have multiply and divide by the exact same thing. So it just becomes 1. And what we're left with then is P is equal to 7350 divided by 1.05. And what you'll get if you put that into your calculator and you combine those two is you'll get 7,000. Now, that's the principal P. What we put in was 7,000. But if you remember, what we're being asked to find is the amount of extra money invested. We put in 6,615. That was there from the very beginning. And then we put in some extra amount. So what I need to do now is say, okay, my 7,000 is in there, but I already had, from the last question, 6,615. So I'm going to take that away now. And when I do that, I'm left with 385. So she put in an extra 385 euro on top of what was already there. And that's how she got out the 7350.